Today on the Topping Show, Andrew Tate and Tristen Tate officially charged. Bud Light begs customers to come back. YouTube censoring Robert F. Kennedy. DNC sponsorships open up. Rivian chooses Tesla superchargers to use. Hyundai to bolster their EV investment. Hunter Boot goes bankrupt. Alibaba has a new CEO. And FedEx sales are down 10% last quarter. All that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, see their founder release twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's the joke. If you're a IT leader or business owner and need a little assistance with your IT, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Now, going on to the cultural part of the podcast, you have Andrew Tate and Tristen Tate officially being charged. Finally. And I say finally not because I think they're particularly guilty or I have any animus towards them. I never met them. But I say this because this dog and pony show has been going on for more than half a year. Now, high level, their charges are around them career. One of the notes was that they coerced women by offering relationships but then only intended to sleep with them, which that particular note, I mean, that just sounds like a frat boy douchebag, or where the fancy term is for that mindset or that action. Doesn't sound illegal. Other charges are that they paid or they took a revenue share of the women who made entertaining videos, which again, morally, that's certainly not palatable for many. I don't think that's illegal. And then other charges of, I'm trying to think of how to not get this video 100% censored or delisted or blacklisted, whatever term you prefer. Selling humans, trying to think of it. There's all these catchy terms I'm trying to navigate so that this doesn't get banned or something like that. Nevertheless, they're not good charges. Now, it's also interesting to note that again, fancy terms for Romanian, dictatoriat for investigating organized crimes and terrorism, also known as DCOT, which marketing, that's an F. I can't pronounce it. I know I'm not from Romania, so I'm probably butchering it with my accent, and I don't know the local language. But the other parts of everything else translated fine. Investigating, everyone knows that term. Organized, everyone knows that term. Crime, everyone knows that term. Terrorism, everyone knows that term. But dictatoriate, oh, that sounds Italian. I'm butchering it all day with this pronunciation, but I digress. Now, there are allegations that that entity is just trying to attempt to seize the brothers' property, including their fancy watches, their cars, their, I don't know what you call it, a little house or residence. And they were thrown in Romanian jail and held without evidence or even charged of a crime for about 6 months. And again, you might find them morally repugnant. These are American citizens. I'm not too surprised the United States government did absolutely nothing. I don't think they made a phone call. However, when we had what's the fancy word for mediocre? A WNBA player in Russia who broke Russian laws because they're not smart, or she's not smart rather. We traded one of the top arms dealers in the history to get her freedom. We left the United States Marine over in Russia custody, but we chose the WNBA player who proudly professes her ideals that the United States is evil and bad. And would even, prior to her being arrested, when she played in the WNBA games, she wouldn't even stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. She would boycott it. This is allegedly because only 38 people actually watched the WNBA. So I did not watch the game, but I watched clips about it, and I read articles about her lack of participation in the ball game. That's a very generous term. It's a fiscally bankrupt idea. There's a reason why they don't make money. The NBA subsidizes them. That's the only reason they exist. And again, it's just capitalism. If you're not making a profit, they need subsidies to stay afloat. But I digress. So in this case, the U.S. government did nothing. And after 14 months of investigation, the Romanian authorities waited until they had, I believe, 7 or 8 days left. And by Romanian, I'm trying to think of a nice way of saying Romanian Banana Republic laws, a pejorative term for countries that are not very democratic. They had about 7 to 8 days before they would not be allowed to charge them. And now they are charging them. Have we seen any evidence? Not yet. But my three evidence is that if they had evidence, it would have been thrown out. It would have been shown day one, because the whole media, as Andrew Tate might say, oh, I can't do his accent. Like as sparkly water, Bugatti, a little bit, but nevertheless, as he might say, the Matrix is out to get them. And in terms of if you have and again, maybe it was just a shtick to get them off social media because they were very viral at the time, still are. If they just had that evidence, they could have locked them away day one. That's why I'm a little pessimistic about, is there really any hard evidence to prosecute them? Are they going to be put in jail again? But the fact that you could have someone in custody for half a year without charging them or having evidence, that just, you, as a trusted in an institution, I have zero trust in the Romanian government at this point. No one should. And unfortunately, it's quite sad the United States has some parallels in that regard. That's perhaps another conversation for another time, but it's one of those things where time shall tell to see that they're guilty, but I don't know how the Romanian law works. Needless to say, I'm highly skeptical of the situation, and we'll see if they can, I don't know, get out of the Matrix. I don't know. There's a fancy analogy I'm sure Andrew would use in that regard, but at least in the United States, you're entitled to a fair trial. I would hope that's the same in that country as well, and we'll see what happens to the brothers. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Can't thank you enough. I really appreciate you taking the time to like, subscribe, and comment. Each one of those things greatly help out the channel. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your friends, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.